Single dad CEO's heartwarming surprise, his daughter's unexpected wish for an incredible new mom. Jake Martin, CEO of a booming tech startup, sat at his sleek desk, two phone lines ringing as the sun dipped below the Chicago skyline. A familiar heaviness settled on his shoulders, a mix of professional pressure and personal heartache. His head swirled with challenges, deadlines, investor expectations, and the relentless drive to innovate. But all of it paled against the voice in the back of his mind, a whisper reminding him of the fragile, uncomplicated world of his 9-year-old daughter, Lily. She was his anchor, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that he was failing her somehow. His thoughts spiraled into doubt. Was he enough? Could he truly juggle the demands of being both a father and a CEO? Lily was resilient, bright, and full of dreams, but Jake wondered if she sensed the void left by her mother's passing 3 years ago. The loss weighed heavily on his heart, turning grief into an invisible barrier that crowded their small house in the suburbs, filled with faint echoes of laughter now resigned to silence. As the clock ticked, Jake's unease multiplied. He had missed their usual game night to close a deal, and a storm of guilt brewed inside him. When he finally arrived home, the living room was as he left it, papers scattered and toys strewn across the floor, yet something caught his eye. Lily sat at the kitchen table, head bent over a piece of paper, crayons sprawled around her like fallen petals. An odd twinge of curiosity mixed with dread washed over him. He approached quietly, dread knotting his stomach. "Lily?" he asked gently, but her focused scribbling continued. As he peered closer, reality crashed over him like a wave. The letter, it felt like an intrusion, penned words heavy with longing. "I wish for a new mom." The plea astounded him, words cutting through his heart like shards of glass. She wrote of laughter, baking cookies, and bedtime stories, a depth of longing he had somehow managed to overlook. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Disbelief roiled in Jake's chest. How could he have missed this? The bitter truth rang clear. Lily was searching for more than just a caregiver. She craved the companionship that had been ripped from her life. The implications weighed heavily. What kind of father was he if he couldn't provide that for her? This wasn't about replacing her mother, it was about fulfilling a piece of Lily's shattered heart. As Jake wrestled with guilt and uncertainty, he envisioned potential paths. Would seeking out a new partner be an act of betrayal against his late wife's memory? He felt that weight, societal judgment creeping in like sliding shadows, smothering the tiny flame of hope that flickered within him. Each face at work and in the neighborhood seemed burdened with expectations, and Jake often felt like an imposter in his own skin. Just when he thought he was gaining clarity, a flicker of desire began to surface for a waitress he'd met earlier in the week. She had dreams painted across her smile, a lightness that had ensnared him. Yet her presence created an unwanted storm of internal conflict. Was this the kind of happiness Lily was craving, or simply a distraction from their empty reality? All at once, everything felt precarious. He was standing at the edge of a precipice, contemplating a leap into the unknown while guarding a piece of his soul, Lily's soul, with every ounce of his being. As uncertainty twisted his stomach, Jake knew he might be on the brink of reshaping their lives. But was he strong enough to face the consequences? Would he become what Lily needed, or would he shatter everything into irreparable fragments? The weight of his thoughts pressed down like a heavy fog, obscuring the way ahead. Jake made his way to the kitchen, a battle raging within him. His leadership at work hinged on decisiveness and clear vision, yet in this moment, he felt anything but certain. How could he lead a company when he struggled to lead a family? The silence of the house loomed, amplifying the echoes of his internal dilemma. Sitting down at the table across from Lily, he noticed the crayon drawings she had completed. Each colored line was a narrative, a vibrant castle incomplete without the voices of her imaginary friends and family. Lifting his eyes to meet hers, he saw determination mixed with vulnerability, a mirror reflecting his own turmoil. "Hey, kiddo," he said, forcing a smile, hoping to infuse warmth into the space between them. "What is that you're drawing?" Lily shrugged, eyes downcast. Just a story, she replied, voice small but brave, as if she were daring him to delve deeper. Instead of dismissing his prompt, he leaned in closer, curiosity edging out his anxiety. What kind of story? He pressed. It's about a princess who finds a new family, she said quietly, tracing her finger over the edge of a castle. Despite her light tone, the words hung in the air like a haunting melody. Jake inhaled sharply, the silence suddenly deafening. Do you want to find a new family? It was a question that felt like spilling his own heart onto the floor, raw and exposed. Lily hesitated, her small finger pausing mid-air. I just want someone to laugh with to help me make pancakes on Sundays, she finally admitted, a tremor in her voice. The admission left Jake feeling hollow, and he couldn't help but question himself. Could he provide that kind of joy again? Ashamed, he combated the inner voice that taunted him with failure, the same voice that had stopped him from pursuing any form of happiness since his wife's passing. If he sought a romantic partner, what would that mean for Lily? Would she think he was trying to erase her mother? It felt like walking a tightrope, with uncertainty looming on either side. As he contemplated his next steps, a desire to reshape their life began to surface, tangling with the fear of change. He needed to address it not just for Lily but for himself. He had been suffocating, wrapped in a cloak of grief and responsibility, while life continued to unfold around him. Could it be time to let go just a little? Jake grabbed a pen and a notepad, the action almost instinctual. As he wrote down everything he felt was good about the idea of opening their home to someone new, he felt a flicker of hope illuminate the shadows in his mind. Could he introduce joy into their home while honoring his wife's memory? What kind of relationship could he build that wrapped around both Lily and this new person, creating a tapestry of love without erasing the past? The brainstorming shifted to planning. He began asking himself targeted questions: what qualities mattered most in a partner? How could he introduce the idea to Lily without frightening her? Suddenly, her quiet voice interrupted his thoughts. Dad, are you okay? His heart warmed at her concern, trying to swallow the lump forming in his throat. I am, kiddo. But I think we need to talk about something. As they began to discuss the future, he sensed a stirring inside him, a determination to face the quiet storm of his grief, to not just survive but to thrive with Lily. Yet, with each step forward, the specter of his fears reminded him that this journey would not be simple. And just as Jake began sensing clarity, a shadow fell across the doorframe. A knock reverberated, prompting both of them to turn abruptly. Would this finally be the moment when he faced what lay at the edges of his evolving life? It could change everything. The air between them thickened with anticipation, and a feeling of impending change washed over Jake. The past had anchored him, but the future was calling him into an unexplored territory. What lay behind that door? Jake exchanged a glance with Lily, the crackling energy in the room amplifying his pulse. He felt as though the air had thickened with unspoken possibilities and fresh beginnings. With cautious resolve, he left his chair, ready to confront the unknown at the door. As he approached, a swirling mix of anticipation and anxiety surged in him. What if the person behind that door represented a shift he both longed for and dreaded? He grounded himself, reminding himself that he needed to be a leader not just at work but also in his personal life. He pulled the door open to reveal a woman standing there, slightly sheepish yet radiating a warmth that instantly soothed some of his trepidation. Hi, I hope I'm not interrupting, she said, her voice carrying a softness that reminded Jake of a gentle breeze on a warm day. I'm Mia, your new neighbor. I thought I should introduce myself. Behind Jake, he felt Lily tugging at his shirt, her small presence grounding him. Hi, I'm Lily. She chirped, her shyness fading in this unexpected encounter. Nice to meet you, Lily. I've heard that you're quite the artist, Mia replied, kneeling to catch Lily's gaze. Jake watched as Mia's smile brightened Lily's face, and something inside him shifted. He felt a pull, a tentative curiosity about this woman. This was a moment he had only just started to imagine weeks ago, now unfolding before him in living color. Could Mia be a part of their lives? Thanks for stopping by, Jake replied, his tone steady despite the storm of emotions colliding within him. We were just having a little discussion about our future. The word hung between them, filled with potential and fragility. Future discussions are important, Mia said, looking earnestly at him. Change can be scary, but it can also be pretty wonderful. Her eyes sparkled with understanding, hinting she might empathize with the complexities of their situation. I guess it is, Jake murmured, a flicker of admiration sparking within him. How do you advocate for change, especially in new surroundings? Mia straightened a little, her expression shifting to one of contemplation. Well, sometimes it starts with small steps. Getting to know someone, finding common ground. She turned her gaze back to Lily. And I love making pancakes on Sundays. She added with a conspiratorial wink. Lily's eyes widened in excitement, and Jake felt the knot of tension in his chest loosen just slightly. Was it possible that Mia's presence could not only be a potential new beginning for him but for Lily's happiness too? As they engaged in light conversation, Jake's mind raced. He was finally stepping out of the confinement of his past and allowing space for something new, something just beyond his grasp. Could he carve out time to explore this dynamic with Mia? Could he offer Lily a chance for laughter without erasing the memories they cherished? The dialogue continued, with Mia sharing snippets about her life, her passion for art, and her own experiences of change. It was refreshing, the rhythm of her words dancing around the edges of Jake's hesitant heart, yet a shadow lingered in the back of his mind. No matter how delightful this encounter felt, doubt hovered near. Could Mia truly fit into their lives? And what of the memories tied to his late wife? Before he could dig deeper, he felt Lily pulling at him again. Can we invite her to make pancakes with us? She asked, her eagerness clear. The innocence in her question was a sharp reminder of the vulnerability he sought to protect. Jake hesitated, but he could see the hope in his daughter's eyes. Sure, he replied, a newfound clarity beginning to take form within him. As they invited Mia inside, Jake understood that the first step into the unknown had already been taken. Each moment held the potential for both joy and heartbreak. With Mia, they could begin crafting a new narrative, threading together past memories and present possibilities, but lingering at the back of his mind was the realization that this invitation might not only change his daughter's life but could also reveal profound truths about his own heart. Would he embrace the emotions that came with vulnerability, or step back into the shadows of grief that felt all too familiar? As laughter began to fill the kitchen, and the promise of pancakes hung in the air, Jake felt a shift on the horizon, a signal that he was about to confront everything he had long feared, daring him to let go of the safety of his sorrow. The next challenge awaited, one that would explore not only his ability to lead in love but the strength to integrate the past with the hopes for tomorrow. What surprises lay ahead on this path he now dared to walk? The sweet aroma of pancakes wafted through the kitchen, wrapping around Jake like a warm blanket. Laughter danced in the air as Mia expertly flipped a pancake, while Lily squealed in delight at each perfect golden circle that landed onto the plate. Jake leaned against the counter, watching the two of them share a light-hearted moment, and felt an unfamiliar but welcome sensation unfurl within him. This was more than just a casual interaction. It felt like a spark igniting a hidden area of his heart that had long been dormant. Yet the brightness of this moment pushed against the shadows lingering in his mind. Jake's thoughts drifted to the challenges that lay ahead. Was he truly prepared to navigate this budding relationship with someone new, given the weight of his past? Jake, would you like a pancake? Mia's voice pulled him back to the moment, and she looked so genuinely pleased that he couldn't help but smile. Sure, he said, the word feeling like a small surrender to the unfamiliar instead of a retreat into his own world. As she handed him a plate, his fingers brushed against hers, igniting a pulse of electricity that sent butterflies fluttering in his stomach. Thanks. The word hung in the air, a simple gratitude for something much more profound. Even if he didn't yet have the words for it, Lily eagerly dove into her pancakes, asking questions about art in Mia's life, and it became apparent that the conversation flowed effortlessly. Jake marveled at how Mia engaged with Lily, listening intently, making the young girl feel valued and seen. It stirred something deep within him. This wasn't just about forging new connections, it was a chance to create a family unit that could evolve and blossom together if he allowed it, but with that possibility rose a tide of doubt. What if this moment was fleeting? Would Mia become an integral part of their lives only for him to lose her? His heart raced at the thought. How could he hold on when he had already lost so much? Mia caught his contemplative gaze and paused, her expression shifting slightly. Hey, what is going on in that thoughtful head of yours? she asked gently, the banter dropping as a more profound curiosity took its place. Her inquiry unraveled a knot of apprehension within him. I guess it's just everything feels new, and I'm trying to reconcile it all. Lily deserves happiness, and so do I, but it feels unfair. Mia nodded, an understanding softness lacing her features. Change is hard. But sometimes it's the uncomfortable steps that lead to the most fulfilling journeys, she offered, her voice steady as if she carried wisdom beyond her years. Jake could sense the challenge in her words. Could he navigate this tangled web of emotions and history? Would he let Mia in, or would he push her away to cling to the remnants of his past life? Lily, observing their exchange, interjected with her uncomplicated innocence. Can I be the pancake expert next time? She proposed, her wide eyes sparkling with possibility. The idea lit something in Jake. It reminded him that it was about creating memories, even while grappling with the ghosts of the past. But of course. Mia encouraged, clapping her hands in approval. Jake's heart swelled with a tentative hope. He had always thought that happiness would erase his past, but maybe it could coexist alongside it. The beautiful reality of Mia becoming a part of their lives didn't mean he'd forget the love he lost. It could mean embracing a new chapter with all its uncertainties and joys. As the morning rolled on, laughter filled the air, and with every shared moment, Jake began to reshape the narrative of his life. He wasn't simply a single father managing grief, he was navigating love and letting the possibility of warmth seep back into his plans for the future. The time had come to face the fear that tied him to his past. But what if the next chapter meant confronting feelings he had buried deep inside? The revelation struck him with intensity. Could he balance the love for his late wife while welcoming the potential joy Mia brought? As the pancakes dwindled and their laughter softened, a pivotal realization settled in. Each day forward would involve choices that could either strengthen or sabotage this budding dynamic. Jake felt excitement intertwining with dread. Now that he had glimpsed the possibilities, would he have the courage to embrace the uncertainty of moving forward? What truths lay ahead, waiting for his acknowledgement? The atmosphere swelled with potential, hinting that the upcoming days would bring challenges that demanded not just boldness, but also the activation of his hidden strengths. Jake only hoped he was ready for whatever lay ahead. Jake's thoughts spun in an intricate dance between hope and fear as he navigated the day's unfolding unpredictability. Freshly brewed coffee filled the kitchen, the steaming cup in his hand a tether to the present moment. He had relished the laughter and warmth shared during breakfast, but a stark reality set in once Mia left to gather art supplies for their planned Saturday project. Mornings like this unwrapped layers of possibility, yet Jake was keenly aware of the weight he still carried. Was he ready to embrace change? The conversation they'd had hung in the air like the last notes of a song, echoing his internal struggle. Could he truly move forward? His gaze shifted to Lily, who sat crayon in hand, unaware of the turbulence swirling within her father. As she meticulously colored a large sheet of paper, he watched her carefree spirit, illuminating what joy could emerge from the simplest moments. Perhaps carrying his past didn't mean he had to let it dictate every aspect of his life. But self-doubt clawed at him. What if Mia's involvement in their lives only brought more pain? Jake knew he needed to confront these concerns head-on rather than allowing them to twist into paralyzing fears. He'd spent far too long in the safety of his cocoon. It was time to chart a new path, if not for him, then for Lily. What are you thinking about, Dad? Lily's innocent voice cut through his reverie, her forehead creased with concentration. Jake hesitated, deciding how much to share with her. He wanted to foster openness, yet he was also protective of her understanding. Just how fun today will be, especially with the new art project. I'm glad you're excited. They're going to be the best paintings ever, she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Her joy was infectious, igniting the remnants of Jake's hope. He took a deep breath, deciding to push through his uncertainty. You know, it's good to try new things and meet new people, isn't it? That's what makes life colorful. Lily paused, considering her father's words, then nodded enthusiastically. Yeah. Like with Mia. She makes every day more fun. The truth of her statement struck him. Mia had brought a vibrancy into their lives that he had long thought extinguished. But the fear that it would vanish as quickly as it had arrived weighed heavily. Was he prepared to risk Lily's heart again, especially if things didn't materialize the way they hoped? He blinked back the swell of emotion, forcing it down into the depths he had so carefully sealed. It was a dangerous game to play, risking the comfort of the known for the uncertainty of the new. As the hours trickled by and the sun began to dip towards the horizon, Jake meticulously organized the art supplies, recounting all the colors they would use to decorate the canvases. The soft sounds of Lily's laughter broke through as she pretended to mix the colors in exuberant cocktails, a reminder of what was at stake. Mia's arrival was heralded by the cheerful jingle of the doorbell. Instantly, Jake felt a rush of anxiety mixed with excitement. Would he be able to articulate everything he felt without succumbing to the wall his past had built? "Hey, are you ready for our masterpiece?" Mia greeted, her vibrant smile aimed squarely at Lily, who immediately bounded towards her. Jake stood back momentarily, studying the interaction, the flicker of apprehension morphing into something warmer. He heard the subtle push of transformative potential in their laughter. What would the future hold for them? That very question hung over him as they gathered their supplies and moved towards the backyard while sunlight began to fade, illuminating the fabric of their evening plans. Each moment was a brushstroke, each laugh a color, merging the fragments of their lives together. Jake felt his heart pull not just for the connection with Mia but for the promise of healing as well. Yet, a creeping hesitation lingered. If he opened his heart to Mia, could he also protect Lily from any potential heartache? As they settled into their art session, surrounded by the blooms of summer, he could feel a decision looming. The canvas of his life was not about to paint itself, and the question remained, would he take the risk of unveiling his own vulnerabilities, or would he retreat, imprisoning himself once more in the walls he had built? With each stroke Lily made on her canvas, Jake rehearsed the myriad of choices ahead. He had come this far, it was time to confront the truths awaiting him before his very soap bubble of hope could burst. What was he truly willing to sacrifice for the chance of a new beginning? And as the last rays of sun touched the horizon, he felt the weight of that question settle over him, demanding not just reflection, but courage. With the allure of the setting sun fading into the twilight, Jake's heart raced against the backdrop of laughter and paint splatters. The afternoon had unfurled like a canvas, each moment brightened by Lily's exuberance and Mia's playful spirit. Yet, amid this joy sat his formidable reservation, coiling tighter around his heart with every stroke of the brush. As they began, Mia instructed Lily on mixing colors, her hands guiding Lily's with gentle precision. Watching them, Jake felt an unexpected swell of appreciation bloom within him. This was a woman willing to invest in their lives, to weave her creativity into the fabric of their everyday realities. Still, a whisper of skepticism threaded through his thoughts. How deeply was he willing to allow Mia into their lives when the stakes felt so high? He shifted on his feet, the discomfort in his chest mingling with the vibrant colors around him. Conversations about potential futures crept back into focus. What if he found himself opening up, exposing raw parts of his heart only to discover that Mia wasn't the safe harbor he yearned for? A potential heartbreak loomed as large as the colorful mess covering the picnic table. "Dad, look at this!" Lily squealed, holding up her canvas, proudly displaying a kaleidoscope of hues. "It's a butterfly. Can I hang it in my room?" Jake felt warmth spill over him, every worry momentarily evaporating in the light of her creativity. "That's amazing, sweetheart. I can't wait to see it hanging where you can look at it every day," he encouraged, but as he spoke, he caught Mia's glance. There was something unsaid drifting between them, a promise of connection and possibility, yet shrouded by Jake's guarded heart. As they painted together, laughter rippling through the air intermingled with silence born out of contemplation. Each giggle from Lily reminded him of the innocence he longed to protect, and of the mounting responsibility resting on his shoulders. The echo of Mia's laughter stirred something deep within him, challenging the walls he had built against vulnerability. When Mia turned to him unexpectedly, brush in hand, his breath hitched. "You're too serious, you know. Let the colors speak for you," she said with a playful lilt, her voice infused with encouragement. He couldn't help but smile. Colors have always had a way of expressing what words often fail to convey. "Then let us express ourselves together," Mia replied, a challenge lacing her tone. Jake's heart raced as he dipped his brush into the vibrant blue, reflecting the doubt swirling in his mind. Could he let himself be vulnerable, even for the sake of art? With each stroke across his canvas, Jake began to untangle his trepidation. Rather than fight the uncertainties, he surrendered to the experience, to the joy, the laughter, and the unexpected connection. This moment wasn't just about teaching Lily to create, it was an opportunity for him to explore uncharted areas of his own identity, to embrace the possibility of new beginnings. Tension began to ebb as they delved deeper into their artistic endeavor. Laughter flowed more freely, as did the colors across the canvases. Jake wanted to share this joy with Lily, and perhaps with Mia too, but doubt pulled at him like a stubborn anchor. The question still lingered, thickening the air. Was this the change he was ready to embrace? As dusk settled, the canvases transformed under the rich hues of twilight, mirroring Jake's inner landscape. Each layer of paint not only brightened the pictures but also offered a glimpse into what the future could hold. Suddenly, amidst the bliss, Lily's voice piped up, "Dad, can we have more days like this? And can Mia stay forever?" Jake's heart clenched with the weight of that simplicity. What answer could he give? The instinct to protect reared its head, but he realized, with a clarity that demanded action, that perhaps the real risk wasn't in letting Mia in, but in holding back from the potential that awaited them all. The horizons of their lives expanded with every question and lively stroke in the fading light. What path would he choose to follow, and could he finally trust in the beauty of what might come? As those thoughts collided within his heart, he felt the gates of his self-imposed isolation begin to shatter. Would he continue to be an architect of caution or, instead, embrace the chaotic beauty of uncertainty as the sun disappeared entirely, leaving them within shadows yet glowing from the colors they had created? Jake stood still, staring at the smears of paint on his canvas, the colors swirling together like the chaotic mixture of emotions he felt inside. Mia and Lily had moved on to the neighboring table, engrossed in a playful debate about who could paint the most outrageous dinosaur. Mia's laughter filled his ears, and it was disarming, nearly intoxicating. He wished he could harness that energy, bottle it up, and let it spill over into his own heart, but instead, he was paralyzed by the weight of indecision. He wanted to respond to Lily, to let her simple wish resonate within him, but the memories of past heartbreak echoed louder. The image of his former life loomed a protective shell built against pain, and here was Mia, a vibrant catalyst for change, shaking the very foundations of his carefully constructed world. The stakes felt impossibly high. Each time he interacted with Mia, he felt pieces of that shell chip away, exposing vulnerable facets of himself he had long hidden. As the shadows deepened and the air cooled, Jake's thoughts began racing. He could marvel at the colors only as long as he played this role of caretaker of a father shielding his daughter from heartbreak. But what about his own heart? Could he remain in this locked chamber forever, unwilling to let anyone in? "Jake, are you going to finish that butterfly or just stare at it?" Mia called over to him, her playful tone shattering his brooding thoughts, bringing his attention back to the present. He chuckled lightly, reluctantly drawn into her light. "I was considering a more abstract approach." "Abstract, huh?" she quipped, stepping closer to inspect his work. "Looks to me like you need a little more confidence or maybe a splash of color." Her encouragement sparked something, a curiosity mixed with apprehension. What would it feel like to dive headfirst into this colorful chaos, this untamed connection? The notion of embracing the unknown, both in his artwork and in his heart, felt exhilarating yet terrifying. He realized, amid the laughter and light-hearted teasing, that she was offering him more than companionship. She was beckoning him to redefine what it meant to be alive. "Maybe I should let you take the lead," he replied, a grin breaking through his earlier trepidation as he offered her the brush. "Only if you promise to let loose," Mia replied with a determined glint in her eye. For a beat, Jake hesitated, but something within him shifted. This wasn't just a game of paint, it was a chance to reclaim the narrative of his life. He dipped his brush into the vivid paint, swirling it with vigor across the canvas, each stroke a defiance against the shadows he had wrestled with for so long. It was an embodiment of the risk he was willing to take for the potential of joy. Lily's delighted squeals served as a soundtrack to their growing bond. As he painted, an understanding began to blossom within him. Every color, every brushstroke whispered of possibilities. The portraits of his past faded, transforming into an invitation to step boldly into a future ripe with connection and creativity. The night drew on, day departing with a promise of another dawn, but questions hung in the balance like paint on a wet brush. Would Mia want to continue this journey beyond playful paintings?
Could he transition from a protective father to a partner willing to explore the unknown, embracing joy despite the risks?
He found himself standing on the precipice of vulnerability, heart racing as the truth settled heavily inside him. He wanted this more so than he ever anticipated. The decision loomed ahead, a fork in the road, to retreat back into fear or to leap forward into the unknown. As he surveyed the hues of their canvases and the light flickering in Mia's eyes, he sensed that something fundamental was rising within him, the courageous yearning to forge ahead, even amid the weathered wounds. Just then, as if to seal this moment of clarity, Mia turned to him, gaze steady and curious.
"Jake, do you think we could do more of this? I mean, together, just the three of us?"
The weight of her words hung heavy in the air, igniting a plethora of possibilities and worries all at once. It was the beginning of an invitation to explore their intertwined lives, and the prospect was both thrilling and terrifying. What would he decide, and could this fragile connection withstand the tests that awaited them? Jake felt the warmth of anticipation seep into the cool night air as Mia's question settled around them like the soft brush of an evening breeze. It wasn't simply a proposal to paint, it was an invitation to reshape his reality, to embrace an uncertain yet exhilarating future filled with laughter and creativity. The concept of building something deeper, richer, and ultimately more challenging tugged at his heartstrings, an unsettling blend of fear and excitement. As he stared into Mia's eyes, a deep understanding formed within his core. This wasn't just about art, it was about connection and trust, a venture into uncharted emotional territory. He yearned for stability, yet part of him craved the very chaos Mia represented. The tension between those desires was palpable, he could feel it reverberate within him like an unanswered question. Could he truly allow someone in? "Yeah, I think we could," Jake replied, his voice steadier than he felt. The words held a newfound resolve, a crack in the shell he had built around himself. "Together, just the three of us." A radiant smile spread across Mia's face, and for a moment, the light seemed to dim around them as he absorbed the power of that moment. He exhaled slowly, releasing a breath he didn't know he had been holding. It was a small victory, a step away from the shadows of his past. But in the dark corners of his mind, doubts lingered. How would he balance being a father and inviting romance into his life? What if he failed again? Jake turned back to the canvas, which now felt more representative of his own journey than just a painting. Each stroke held significance, a physical manifestation of the choices he was beginning to embrace. He picked up the brush again, invigorated and emboldened. "So, what should we paint next?" he asked, adopting a casual tone that masked the whirlwind of emotions beneath the surface. "Let us do something that represents us," Mia suggested, her fingers wiggling playfully as if she were dancing with ideas. "Something that speaks to family, strength, and maybe even a little adventure." As the conversation flowed, Jake felt the thrill of possibility wash over him. The blend of colors on the canvas shifted with his emotions, leaving no doubt that his own personal journey was emerging. Mia's enthusiasm was infectious. It was as if she were igniting a spark that had dimmed far too long within him. The more they discussed their ideas, the more Jake's resolve solidified. He wanted this them, yet, as the joyous dialogue continued, a fleeting thought crossed his mind, a chilling reminder of the risk he was taking. Building this new bond meant opening himself to potential heartache again. Would he have the strength to handle the fallout if things didn't go as planned? Suddenly, Lily's laughter broke through his contemplation, a gentle reminder not to overanalyze moments of joy. She was dancing around them, her exuberance painting a picture of happiness so pure it was almost tangible. Like a bright stroke against the backdrop of their still developing masterpiece, Lily's laughter was a vivid reminder of what was at stake. "We're doing great!" Lily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Can we put a T-Rex in there? With sparkles?" The absurdity of her suggestion pulled Jake into the present moment. He chuckled, feeling the weight of decision momentarily lift from his shoulders. "Absolutely. A sparkly T-Rex it is." The laughter shared was free and unrestrained, a song of acceptance ringing through the air as they all dipped their brushes into the colors, mixing them with carefree strokes. There was a delicate balance brewing, a cocktail of fear and joy intertwined. Each brushstroke laid not just paint, but also the foundations for new relationships and exploration that extended beyond that evening. As they worked together, an undercurrent of conversation continued to build, a deeper dialogue threading through layers of color and creativity. The execution of each detail felt powerful, every fleck of paint a whisper of new possibilities and lingering uncertainties, but as the laughter echoed and the painting neared completion, one question remained: could his heart weather the storm of vulnerability, or would the very connection he longed for become another source of fracture? As the colors melded into a beautiful yet chaotic canvas, he recognized that each masterpiece held untamed potential, and outside those boundaries lay the complexity of love and loss waiting to unfold. What lay ahead, Jake pondered, as he gazed at the painting, and more importantly, at the two women filling his life with meaning. Would he gather the strength to navigate the intricate dance of fatherhood intertwined with burgeoning affection, or would his fears once again hold him captive, hesitating at the thresholds of new beginnings? Jake sat before the canvas, the vibrant colors swirling and intertwining, reflecting the tumultuous yet exhilarating battle raging within him. As the last strokes began to dry, an unanticipated wave of realization washed over him. Creating this painting alongside Mia and Lily was more than a mere artistic endeavor. It was a mirror to his own burgeoning personal growth. But he felt the remnants of doubt cling to him like a shadow, haunting him at the fringes of his mind. How easy it would be to retreat to the safety of solitude, to avoid the possibility of heartbreak. Yet, as he looked at Mia, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the studio lights, he recognized a kindred spirit, someone who could either amplify his joy or expose the fragility of his heart. "I want to keep painting together," he said, the words spilling out with a conviction he didn't know he possessed. "This is different, with you two, it feels right." Mia nodded, her eyes flickering with understanding. "This is just the beginning, Jake. We're creating something beautiful, but we're also crafting a family story, one brushstroke at a time." Her encouragement ignited something within him, a burgeoning sense of purpose that pushed back against the shadows of doubt. The notion of family, of connections deeper than mere obligation, was forming right before his eyes. But alongside that exhilaration simmered an undeniable trepidation. What if he fell short? What if he found himself unable to balance the roles waiting in his life? As if sensing his inner turmoil, Lily chimed in with a carefree demeanor: "Can we add more sparkles? Sparkles makes everything better." Her innocent enthusiasm wrapped around Jake like a comforting blanket, a reminder that amidst the chaos of life, joy could still be found in the simplest moments. "Let us do it," Jake agreed. He realized that embracing the unpredictability of their current situation was akin to embracing his own journey. The act of pouring paint onto canvas wasn't just artistic, it was cathartic. It was about crafting emotions and experiences, and he needed to follow that impulse without fear. With newfound resolve, Jake picked up a fresh brush. Every color became a decision he made, every stroke a commitment he was forging. In the midst of painting, he sketched out plans for a future that included both vulnerability and hope, an unfamiliar territory he was ready to explore. Yet, the more engrossed he became in the work, the more the reality of his fears loomed. He questioned the wisdom of forging this connection when his daughter remained the sun in his universe. What if this venture turned sour? Would it disrupt the delicate balance he had nurtured? Suddenly, Mia broke through his spiraling thoughts. "Let us not just paint our present, let us paint our future," she proposed, her tone laced with both playfulness and earnestness. "What do we all want this picture to tell? Where do you see us?" Jake paused, breathing in her words. What did he want, truly? The canvas was a reflection of more than colors. It was a narrative yet to be written, one where he could define the characters, the arcs, and the very essence of their relationships. The challenge lay not only in facing the fears that gnawed at him but in shaping the lives they painted together. "Adventure," he finally said, allowing the word to dwell in the air. "I want us to represent the adventure of life. Not just what's easy, but exploring the unknown together. Can we do that?" At this moment, he felt a shift, a subtle transition from fear to determination. While the unknown loomed ominously at the fringes of his thoughts, it also suggested endless possibilities, an ideal Jake hadn't dared to entertain for so long. "Absolutely," Mia replied, an encouraging glint in her eyes, followed by Lily's exuberant cheer. As they moved forward, each brushstroke more deliberate than the last, Jake found a liberating truth emerging from the chaos: vulnerability could be a strength, but with every thread woven into their masterpiece, a deeper dilemma resided just beneath the surface. Could he truly embrace
this adventure wholeheartedly?
The walls that separated him from fully opening up began to feel insidious, and the looming question remained: would he lean into the risk of potential heartache or retreat back to safety, thereby stifling his growth? As he pressed the brush onto canvas, the weight of the decision settled on his shoulders, reminding him that life was an ever-evolving journey. But the decision to take that leap was forthcoming, bubbling just beneath the veneer of his everyday reality.
What lay beyond the canvas and his newfound ambitions? With the painting almost complete, Jake felt the stirrings of something deeper within.
It was time to confront the untamed heart of his insecurities, a confrontation he had been dodging for too long.
Would he rise to meet it?
The days following the art session unfolded with surprising resilience. Jake stood at the crossroads of transformation, firmly resolved to embrace the chaos of new beginnings rather than retreat into the familiar confines of grief. With every sunrise, he felt an undercurrent of excitement mingle with the echoes of doubt. His relationship with Mia blossomed, supported by Lily's unbridled enthusiasm. Together, they ventured into creative projects around the house, baking together and painting the walls with hues that resonated with life. During one particular Saturday, under the gentle sunlight streaming through the kitchen window, Jake found himself amidst clouds of flour and the appetizing scent of chocolate chip cookies. "Great teamwork," he exclaimed, tossing a playful wink at Lily while they mixed the batter. The innocence of the moment brought a tender realization: he was beginning to navigate joy again. Amidst the laughter and chaos, a conversation with Mia unfolded. They found themselves sitting on the porch later that afternoon, enjoying the fruits of their labor. "You know," she began thoughtfully, "the moments we create together matter just as much as the past we've left behind." Jake considered her words, understanding that she spoke not just for Lily but for him as well. The layers of his past no longer needed to define him. Jake had dedicated years to surviving, but with Mia and Lily, he was finally thriving. The daily reminders of his late wife had started to blend seamlessly into warm recollections rather than haunting memories. It became a conscious choice to celebrate that love while living, to welcome the new colors life had to offer. His professional life began to mirror this journey. Reinvigorated by personal progress, Jake approached business challenges with renewed vigor. He initiated innovative strategies and nurtured a culture of creativity within his company.
Investors began to notice his transformation, renewing confidence in his vision.
Reports of his leadership resonated positively through the industry, promoting growth at unprecedented rates. One morning, while reviewing the latest quarterly report, Jake received a call from a prominent business journal known for honoring innovators in technology. "We'd like to feature you, Jake," the editor announced, her tone brimming with enthusiasm. "Your journey as both a leader and a father is inspiring." For a heartbeat, he felt literal disbelief. He had wrestled against the tide of public expectation while navigating his private storms. Now, here he was, standing at the helm of both worlds, achieving a balance previously thought impossible. By the time the feature came out, he had made a decision. He invited Mia and Lily to join him at the event, an opportunity to showcase the three of them together. It was more than just recognition, it was a celebration of their unified existence, a testament to the beauty they had created together. As he stood at the podium, a wave of gratitude washed over him. "This journey has taught me that true strength lies in allowing joy to coalesce with pain," he addressed the crowd, glancing at Mia as she beamed with pride, and Lily, who waved with infectious enthusiasm. "My story isn't only about loss, it's a shared story of love, past and present, fueling the future." The applause reverberated around him, each clap a mark of acknowledgement for the courage that had built this moment. In embracing vulnerability, he had cultivated an environment rich with possibility not just for himself but for Lily and Mia as well. When the event concluded, Lily rushed over, the sparkle in her eyes brightening the air between them.
"You were amazing, Dad. Can we have pancakes again tomorrow?"
Jake laughed, embracing her tightly. "Absolutely." Standing side by side with Mia, he felt a grounding comfort, a solid foundation established through laughter, shared dreams, and emotional honesty. Here was the resolution he had long sought, defined not just by achievements but by connections. Yes, the fear of vulnerability still danced at the edges of his consciousness, but he had learned that it could coexist with hope. Jake stood transformed from that uncertain CEO into a confident father and partner ready to navigate whatever came next. As he looked toward the future, he realized that he wasn't simply leading a company or parenting a daughter, he was living fully. No longer confined by the shadows of his past, Jake was finally stepping into the light, equipped with the knowledge that he could build a life anchored in love. Now was the moment to celebrate, to share this journey of growth with those ready to embrace their own changes. Jake had achieved the fulfillment so often sought yet rarely attained. Do you want to witness more heartwarming transformations? You need to subscribe now to the channel. Don't miss these exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the inspiration flowing. Comment your reactions and theories about this powerful conclusion. What transformations resonate with you? Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this uplifting journey. Don't wait even one more second to inspire others.